Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Hani Fitridiani, and in this video I'm going to analyze about an article that I found, a pragmatic article I found at the benjamin.com. So this place is actually have a lot of article on pragmatics material, but I think this is one that I found interesting. So it's about natural conversation in males and females, conversation style, content, recall, and quality of interaction. The author are Maria Rosa Barani and Chiara Nicolini. There's 13 section on the articles. Introduction, there are introduction, male and female conversation art style, and then conversation memory, method, then there's 13 actually. The rest are the result and also the conclusion. So there's also 20 page on this article. So let's move to the next discussion about the first one section, our introduction. Okay, so for the first one is introduction. So what the study is about. The study is a part of the bigger project that looks at how people talk in different settings, natural conversation, research interviews, and clinical interviews. In this paper, the focus is only on natural conversation or casual talk between two people. The researcher wanted to understand how gender affects speaking style, memory of conversation, and overall interaction quality. So they believe that when people talk, especially in setting like therapy or interviews, things like listening, turn taking, and involvement is very important thing. So they started by studying normal conversation to see if men of women behave differently, and if thus difference could affect communication quality in more serious settings. So move to the next section about female and female speaking style. Previous research suggests that women often speak more politely and focus on building relationship, while men focus more on the giving information clearly and directly. So according to Lakoff and Tannen, men tend to use more direct rule-based language, while women value politeness and connection more. So interruption and overlapping speech have also been studied. Some research say men interrupted more, but others say the difference isn't clear. There are also supportive interruption, like asking question or showing interest, which are different from rude ones. So in general, women seem more emotionally sensitive during conversation, noticing some small quills, and responding more gently. And we can see on the to the section 3. So when people talk, they usually remember what they said better than what the other person said. That's because when we speak, we're more mentally involved with thinking, planning. We're monitoring what we say, but when someone else is talking, we often only listen just enough to understand before preparing our next reply. Researcher, the author has shown that people who actively join a conversation remember more than those who only listen. So this shows that memory is closely tied to how involved someone is during the interaction. So the researcher wanted to see if this change based on gender. The next are hypotheses. So what they wanted to find. So the researcher had 4 main idea they wanted to test. The first one, gender may affect how much people talk and how much info they say. The second one, gender may affect things like interruption or topic change. The third one, men and women might remember conversation differently. The fourth, the overall interaction quality, how involved the responsive people are, could also be influenced by gender. So the fifth is method, how the study was done. So there was 72 participants, all adults from the same workplace in the northern Italy. They didn't know each other before the study before the analysis. So they were grouped into three types of pairs: male male, MM, female female, FF, and mixed MV, male female. So in the first session, each pair talked for like 5 minutes about their high school experience. A week later, each person come back and was asked to recall everything from the conversation. The researcher also recorded about of the conversation and the memorization. So then analyze them by looking to how many words and idea were used. So and whether people remembered what they said better than what their partner said. The sixth one, what they measured. So the study of the conversation, the researcher looked at the number of words, at the number of idea, the turn length and behavior like the interruption, topic change and expansions. When someone helped their partner to talk more. For memory, they checked how much of the conversation was remembered, but both one's own speech and the partner, and how detailed that memory was. They also made sure the data was judged fairly by having three independent experts check the transcript and agree on what counted as an idea or meaningful unit of speech. Next one. The result, conversation behavior. So men in same gender pairs, in pairs, is tended to talk more, take longer turns, and use more words per idea. Women in mixed pairs, in MV, female and male pairs, also spoke more than the woman in female-only pairs, FF. So suggesting they were adjusting to the male style. However, women used more expansion, especially in FP pairs, female-female pairs, showing they were more sportive, interactive. So there one strong difference in how often people interrupted or changed topics. So while men were they, women were more focused on helping the conversation flow. So especially when with the other woman. So the eighth is a memory recall, the result. So in the memory task, men in MM pairs, in male pairs, remember their own contribution much better than their partner, showing a more self-focused memory style. Woman on the other side remember both their own and partner speech more equally, so showing more balanced situation attention. Also, women in mixed pairs, FM, MV, used more words when recalling and remember their own parts better than women in same-sex pairs, FF. So again, women seem to adjust their style based on their conversation partner. The nine, discussing about speaking patterns. So the study mostly support the idea that men are more focused on their own speech, while women are more responsive and cooperative. Men use more words and take longer turns, while women use more expansion and adapt better in mixed conversation. So although earlier research said men interrupt more, this wasn't strongly shown here. Maybe because the participant had similar education level and works rules, making them more equal socially. So still, the trends match earlier theories about gender and communication style. The 10 is this about discussing of the memory. So in terms of memory, men clearly more themselves, especially when talking to other men. They don't remember what the other person said as well. Women are more consistent and balanced and what they recall regardless of their partner gender. So this shows that women may pay more attention to the relationship during the conversation, while men may focus more on what they are saying. And women talk to men, they tend to adjust to the men's way of speaking, which isn't always matched the other way around. This is actually have a table on the article. There's a lot of table, you can read it actually. So the quality of the interaction, the 11. The researcher also looked at the overall quality of the conversation, like whether people took turns fairly, showed interest, and responded to each other. Female pairs had the best quality, but they were interactive based the information table on this article. So they were interactive, balanced, and also emotionally involved. Male-male pairs had the weakest interaction, with many showing little or involvement in each other's stories. Mixed pair were in between. So overall, women, especially with other women, created a better, more meaningful conversation. So is the conclusion. Wait, the conclusion are where so in this final part, the researcher sum up everything they found in the study. They say that even though the difference between men and women were not huge, some clear patterns still showed up, especially when looking at the both of the people talk and how they interact. The first one, they noticed that the result from the linguistic analysis, like the word count and the memory, matched well with the result from the interaction analysis, like involvement and balance. For example, when someone used more words and showed more engagement of the conversation, that often matched with better interaction equality, meaning they were truly connecting with the other person. So what's interesting is that this all happened in a true conversation, where there was no pressure to perform well. The participants were just talking during the lunch break, so no one told them to be polite or cooperative, but their communication style still showed up clearly. So that's why the researcher believe that so for many people, maintaining a good relationship during conversation is an unconscious goal, especially for men. So what's the big takeaway? So in the study, men tended to be more focused on themselves. They talked more, isn't more words, and remember what they said better than what their partner said. So about women, the other hand, were much focused on the relationship. They listen more, respond more, and remember the conversation more equally. So finally, the researchers say that this kind of study, which combine detailed language analysis of observation of interaction quality, can help identify the different conversation style. They hope to apply the same approach to other situations, like research interviews and therapy session, where good communication is really important. They even suggest that a neutral conversation could be useful model for improving those types of dialogue. So that is I can discussing about this article. I'm sorry if there are a lot of mistake I said from the article. um I doing my best. So yeah, it's the end. The last I say was Allahu muafiq. Aku amit tarik. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.